Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think something ought to be said about what Congress can do to put brakes on some of the aspects of this Obamacare. And I'm talking about you and the rest of the new Congress people are going to be majority in the House of Representatives for sure, hopefully in the Senate. But I think one of the things that can be done, there's a lot of things that are in that bill that are going to require Congress to approve funding. And I think that with a new Congress, we can stop the funding for some of those things that actually kill them. That's one of the things I'd encourage you to try to help with.
I've signed a pledge with a number of candidate colleagues, and every member of the Republican conference has signed a pledge to repeal and replace. And we all understand that begins next year because Obama will still be the president, and he will not sign repealer bills. So it means that we simply don't fund, and all funding bills start in the House. So it gives us the opportunity to look at the budgets for implementing steps as we move through 2012, 2013, to full implementation 2014, to simply not send the money to fund the implementation of particular parts of Obamacare.
Case in point is money to pay the salaries and hire those 17,000 new IRS agents that would be the people who would propose this thing. So that's a good case.
There's all sorts of funding mechanisms.
The Obama watchdogs, there they are.
Yes, and then come here.
Why couldn't this be rolled into a bigger question of the 10th Amendment? Where in the Constitution does it say that the federal government can do anything to craft it they want?
States
It doesn't. The 10th Amendment protects us. And I think this is a wonderful point to bring up. The 10th Amendment affirms not states' rights, but states' powers. Remember, states don't have rights, they have powers. The power that the federal government has flows from the states and from the Constitution. Practically speaking, you're right. Not anymore, and not anymore why? Supreme Court. Not only that, the Supreme Court would have no power to implement what they are enacting because the Supreme Court has no Army or Navy or Marines, Air Force or Coast Guard. Remember Andy Jackson, and this was something that many of us feel he did wrongly, but he understood the powers that he had when he was moving Indians on the reservations, and Justice Marshall in the Supreme Court told him he couldn't do that. And his response, if you remember from history, was basically this: Justice Marshall has ruled. Now let him carry it out. And what he basically said, he doesn't have an army, I do. I'm doing what I'm going to do. If we had presidents and members of Congress, if we had governors of states like the governor of Arizona at this point in time, or Governor Rick Perry of Texas, or Governor Mitch Daniels of Indiana, who are standing up to the federal government and saying, no way, I'm not taking these Medicaid mandates. I'm not taking those dollars because we're going to have to pay for them at the year after they're implemented. Or, we're tired of waiting for dealing with illegal immigration, and so we're going to pass to make sure that nobody can say anything about it. This was at least the rationale. We're going to pass a law that mirrors, in fact uses a language, and points to the language and the articles and the sections in the federal law on immigration. And we're going to make it our law, and we're going to carry it out because the federal government won't do it themselves. Now, if we had governors and state legislatures who would stand up and say, 10th Amendment responsibilities and powers, you are usurping. We will not accept that. If we had members of Congress who represented their districts and senators who hearkened back to the way the framers of our Constitution intended for the Senate to be appointed by state legislatures, not by a popular vote, they would defend their states. And they would say, no way will the federal government be allowed to do that.